Hello, and welcome to episode number 7 of the Outlookers podcast. My name is Paul, and I'm a member of the staff team here at Outlookers. Thank you to Alison for bringing us episode number 6. As some of you may know, we have been absent for a short while, but don't worry, we have all been busy in the background, working hard to bring you some more content. So, let's get into this episode and hear more about what we do here at Outlookers from Ian.
Outlookers, formerly known as the Kirklees Visual Impairment Network, is a charity dedicated to enhancing the lives of people with visual impairments in West Yorkshire. This member-led organisation offers a variety of services aimed at promoting independence and well-being through peer support and technology training.
Thanks, Ian. Let's hear from Martin and Jules now about their impressions of the iPhone 16e.
Okay, so I'm with Jules this morning, and Jules has just recently got a 16e iPhone. So I'll introduce you and say hi, Jules.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I have got the iPhone 16e. I did actually buy it on the day that it came out. How sad am I? Prior to that, I had the 12 Pro, and then prior to that, I had the SE with the home button. So I am used to not having a home button, which I know a lot of you, when you're considering getting a new phone, think, oh, how am I going to live without a home button? You can do quite easily. It's like anything. With practice, you just get used to the different gestures of how to open your phone, and then it's easy. The 16e is quite different to the 12 Pro. The only thing I'd say was the same is they're both the same size. It's not as bulky because the 12 Pro had 3 cameras, whereas the 16e's got 1 camera at the back and then 1 at the front, so the camera isn't chunky on the back of your phone, so it makes it a little bit lighter, so it feels slimmer. It's a 6.1 inch screen. For those of you that look at the screen, I just use VoiceOver on everything. The outside casing is quite different to the other phones because it's got a new button called the Action button, which is on, if you're looking at your phone, you're facing your phone, down the left-hand side, you'd normally have 2 buttons, wouldn't you? The volume down, volume up, and then when you flick the switch to put it to Do Not Disturb, that's been replaced with an Action button. When it first came out, there were just 4 things you could have set your Action button to. So things like silent mode, voice memos, camera, but 4 or 5 things anyway. Whereas now there's 12 different things. So basically, it's a quick way of being able to get to your apps without having to open your phone. So for me, I've got my camera set on my Action button. So you've now got 3 buttons down your left-hand side. So that's where the Action button is, and it is quite useful because you don't have to sort of use any actions to open your phone. You can get to it really quickly. So like I said, that's gone from 4 or 5 options you can use to have as your Action button to 12. It's also very fast. The screen is, like I say, quite a slim screen, and the battery life, which is a very important thing, is really good as well. Have you got anything else you want to ask me, Martin?
No, you've covered it quite well.
And it's, considering it's an iPhone, it is reasonably priced because, the regular iPhones are at 1,000 plus, and like your Pros, whereas the 16e was £600, which I think for what you're getting and the quality of the product, it's I think it's reasonable.
And of course, it's got artificial intelligence built in. So as more and more things come out with that, you're set up for it. So no, that all sounds really good, Jules. Thank you very much for giving us the interview.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
That's great. We now also have a 16e available for anyone who would like a closer look or a demonstration.
Outlookers, the local sight loss charity.
If you've been to any of our groups, you may have seen one of our community champions. So we asked Nick from the media group to go and find out more.
Okay, so I'm Nick Clark, and we're going to do an interview today with Chris, who's going to tell us about her role of being a community champion and the work she does around health. So welcome, Chris.
Hello.
Hello. So I think we're going to do two things, try and tackle two things. First of all is I have no idea what a community champion is, so it'd be really good to understand a bit about what their role is. But then also, I think you're going to talk to us about heart health and cardiac. So a little bit of that as well, which is sort of how the role how we understand the role when you start to talk about some health issues.
That's fine.
Good. So first of all, what is a community champion?
What is a community
What's your
champion?
role?
So the role is someone who's connected to groups of people. So that could be anybody who works for a charity or a type of community group, and it tends to be we work with groups of people who might not always have the same access to public services as other people, and that might be because of, I don't know, age, disability, language, or other sort of accessibility issues. The idea behind the community champions was to make sure that those communities knew what was available to them, because those things might be easy to miss if you don't often go to health centres or you don't see posters or leaflets. And it was making sure that people knew what was available and how to access those things.
Okay, so it's a bit of a sort of bridging role then, is it? Between
Absolutely is,
communities who maybe have access issues because of, as you say, age, disability, those sort of things, and the services that are there. So that, okay.
Yeah.
So I think I'm getting the hang of it. But you've got a particular link to Outlookers, have you?
That's correct, yeah. So I've been working with the volunteers at Outlookers, and Paul, who's leading on this for Outlookers. Mm-hmm. And so I did some training along with some other people to find out what the role of the champions were. Mm-hmm. And then each quarter they ask us to do a different topic. And for the last month, going up to the end of August, it was cardiovascular disease. Mm-hmm. And so what I did for that really was I had some training, me and all the other champions, we had some training from a GP who gave us a presentation. And he told us lots of things about cardiovascular disease that we might not have known. And then he went on and told us the key messages that GPs and other health professionals want us to make sure that people understand and know about.
Okay, so we'll come on to those messages, but just first of all, so this is closely linked to the NHS then?
It is. So the NHS in some form fund this project because they recognise that the work is quite essential. So we might, for example, we did some work around, last year we did some work around bowel screening. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you know anything about how you undertake a bowel screen, it's not very easy to do, even with sight, but certainly without sight, or without understanding what the leaflet says, that might be really, really difficult. And some people would just then choose to put the test in the bin, mm-hmm. or something like that. So it would mean that they didn't get the access to the screening that is available, and GPs would really like us to have, because those sorts of things are around prevention, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we might do bowel screening one time, do a bit of an article on it.
It was very interesting.
Yeah, but let's focus on cardiovascular stuff. So tell us a bit about the messages then.
Okay.
Do your role.
Do my bit. So, after listening to what the GP had to say, there was obviously, everybody knows a little bit about something, don't they? And possibly if you've had heart disease, you might know a lot more than other people. But some of the facts that they told us were for me really striking. One of the things they told us that 80% of the work that GPs do is spent on just 20% of their patients. And that's because lots of people choose not to go, or, for all sorts of different reasons. And that's really one of the reasons why the role of the champions is so important. Another powerful statistic around cardiovascular disease was that 1 in 4 deaths is preventable, which is very sad.
Goodness. Yeah.
So if we know about doing blood pressure monitoring, and we understand more about cardiovascular disease, the chances are that maybe we can cut that 1 in 4 deaths. Yeah. So the issue of blood pressure came up a lot, and while it is a major warning sign that something might not be right, so we were keen to make sure that people knew where they could get blood pressure done. And actually we also went on some training so we could do some as well. So when we go around the groups, we offer that as an option. Even if we're not talking about cardiovascular health, if we're there, we can offer that service to people. And then really the idea is if it's just high, we might say you really do need to get it checked again, which some people did. They went to the GP or they went to see their local nurse and had it done again. And some people went to the local pharmacy, which is another place you can get it done.
And so I came across this in a supermarket. That just walking through, and there was I was with my wife, so she spotted it, but there was a desk or something where you could actually go and have it done. And also, just walking in Huddersfield through Kingsgate, this was a couple of years ago, there were someone came up to us and said, do you want to have your blood pressure done? So it is around and about, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's become much more easily available. It used to be quite, you could only get it done at the GP, couldn't you? And that was it. But now people can get it done lots of places.
And you can get them yourself, the monitors, a decent quality, can you? So I've seen them on Amazon.
I know David and Mark and people within the organisation have been talking to people for a long time about blood pressure monitors for people with sight loss that are being adapted so that they are very easy to use. And quite a lot of people did say they had bought one at some point or another. Whether they actually just bought it and popped it in the cupboard, that was a different matter, but lots of people did say they owned them.
I think I've got this recollection that you might need sighted help to set it up, but once you set it up, then to use it, you just press a button and it speaks to you.
That's correct. That's how it works, yeah. But
Okay.
David and Mark, I know, have run groups. Certainly, if you came into the office, somebody could help you set it up.
And they're not that expensive, are they?
No, they're not these days, no. I think they're mostly under £30.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all great. Tell us a bit more then. Tell us about...
So the other things they wanted people to be aware of was the NHS health checks, which are free to anyone over 40 and under 74. However, what we did find when we were talking to people, that a lot of people over the age of 74, their GP practices were still carrying them out for them. So it's not, if you're just over 74, don't think it's not available to you, because it can be. And that checks all sorts of different things, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, oxygen levels, and all sorts of things. And that's certainly worth doing if it's available to you. Because again, that's just another preventative measure to say, oh, that doesn't look quite right, shall we have another look at it?
And so on the heart, is stroke part of this too?
So when we're talking about cardiovascular disease, we were starting to talk to people about what it actually meant, and we made sure that people understood that it covered strokes, blood clots, and maybe congenital heart disease or other types of heart disease. And we talked about some of the symptoms to watch out for, and those symptoms, some people could name 1 or 2 of them, but the sort of overarching list of them was chest pain, breathlessness. You can get pain in your neck, your shoulder, or your jaw, or your arm. You can feel faint or even feel quite sick. And a lot of people we spoke to who had some sort of heart problem had recognised that those were the symptoms they had suffered with.
Yeah. So I suppose this is about, if there are things along those lines that are worrying you, then you go and see a GP.
That's right, absolutely. And quite a few people we talked to in the group said things like, if they got any of those symptoms, they might just wait and see. They might just think it's indigestion or something else, and they might just wait and see. And the message really from the GPs was very clear. It's better to seek help and seek help quickly. If it turns out that it was nothing, that's fine. But delaying things, of course, could make things much worse. And they were very keen on that. They kept saying, don't delay. Don't be thinking, oh, what if it's not this? Am I troubling anybody? Because that's not what they feel. They feel the faster we get these things sorted, the better.
Yeah, absolutely strong message that. But let's do the stroke thing then, because I've seen that on TV. The fast thing.
The fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
About the fast.
So we chatted a lot about fast, and one of the groups actually made a little video to shout about what fast was in the Batley group. We did that, and that was again to remind yourselves. So if you sort of remember these little acronyms, then if you've got any of those symptoms, you might be able to think, oh, hang on a minute, so it might be something wrong with your face. You might feel a bit funny. It might feel a bit lopsided. Your arm might be tingly, or if you try to lift it up, it might not. It might just flop back down. It could be that your speech, or somebody else's, of course, if you were looking after somebody, the speech was a bit blurred. And then the bit that the GP kept talking about was time. It's time. Do something quickly. Do it now. That's
so that's FAST, fast. Isn't
fast.
It?
That's
yes.
correct.
Okay, Chris. Are we done? Is that enough for now? Because we're going to do more.
They also go
these.
on about prevention. Of course, prevention is very important, isn't it? And means eating a balanced diet. And I think I would say for the Outlookers group, people were pretty healthy, although of course a lot of people highlighted the difficulty of chopping things up, so maybe some of the vegetables that people were eating might not be as many as they probably could, because that's obviously a very tricky thing to do. But we did talk a bit more about fibre, and we talked about whole grains and potatoes and cutting down on things like saturated fats. And there's lots and lots of information out there about it, how to do those things. We also talked about exercise, and particularly within the Outlookers group, I found that many people found that when we talked about what the NHS is suggesting, they were easily meeting that target. So what they say in the NHS is 75 minutes a week of vigorous exercise. That could be running, cycling or aerobics. Or if that feels like too much, 150 minutes of moderate activity, such as a brisk walk, swimming or dancing. And when we talked to people, they said, oh, I probably don't do enough. And so we actually looked at how much they were doing, and people were quite surprised actually that actually a lot of people were meeting the target. So they were quite reassured by that, especially as a lot of people walk, these days.
Yeah, walking's good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're more than welcome.
So, is it a fun role, this role that you're doing?
It's a lovely role. It's really interesting to talk to people and try and get a sense of. We all seem to have a bit of knowledge, but not, of course, everybody doesn't have all of the knowledge. And I certainly don't have all of the knowledge. And if somebody asks me a question and I don't know what it is, the GP was very kind, said we could come back to him or we could go back to Steffi, who works for third sector leaders, and ask her if she would find out for us. And on a couple of occasions we did that. And we can refer people as well to more wellness services or to services that might help them with the cost of living or smoking cessation, those types of services alongside the things that we already do.
So Chris, thanks very much for coming
You're
and
welcome.
doing your bit on the Outlookers podcast, and we'll invite you back.
Oh, lovely. I look forward to that. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nick. Now, time for some AI with our CEO, Mark Owen.
So I'm going to be interviewing Mark about a new program that just seems to have dropped over the weekend, or availability of it, which is called Google Gemini Live. Have I got that right, Mark?
You certainly have, Nick, and it dropped, as you said, just over the weekend on Samsung Galaxy S25 smartphones and also the new Google 9 Pixels. So it's just a couple of phones that it's available on at the moment, but it's a really interesting development in terms of artificial intelligence.
And so we keep hearing about these things, it keep just approaching the dawn of a new era where we can talk to our computers and get sensible answers and get them to tell us what's around. Are we there yet? Is this it?
When we tried it at the weekend, we were really, really amazed. And I think the difference with it compared to many of the things that we've tried already, like Seeing AI or Be My AI, is that with this one, what you have is almost conversational. So, may I demonstrate?
Yeah, let's hear it. What are you going to do? You're going to do something that is part of our lives that we actually want to be able to do.
Yeah, I'm going to try and access some information. Okay. I'm going to find out about what's around us in this room now, and then I'm going to try and access various bits of information to see if I can.
Good.
So I'm going to launch it with the power button on my Galaxy S25 device.
List. Share screen with Ask Gemini, microphone, but open Gemini Live button.
So I would normally be able to ask
Double
Gemini,
tap to activate.
but I'm going to open Gemini Live.
Not ticked. Turn on video streaming, tick box.
And this is a new thing because what I'm doing here is I'm actually turning on the camera.
I can't seem to find not ticked. Ticked.
Find
any video streaming options on this device. You might want to double check your settings or try a different app.
Is Gemini Live working now?
Ah, yes, I can see the table, a mug, and some papers now. It looks like you're trying to show me something. What would you like me to look at?
I am trying to show you something. I'm trying to show you our room. Can you tell me what you can see?
Okay, I see the whole room now. There's a long table with chairs, a couple of mugs, some papers, and a few boxes. Anything specific you'd like me to focus on?
What else can you see now? Is there anything in front of me?
Yes, I see a card in front of you. It has some text and a QR code on it. Would you like me to read what it says?
Yes, please. Well, if you could give me a summary, that would be useful.
Okay, here's a summary of what's on the card. It's about weekly peer support groups and includes locations like Batley, Dewsbury and Huddersfield. There's also contact information, a website, and a Facebook page listed.
Ah, brilliant. Okay then. Can you give me the phone number?
Sure. The phone number listed is 01924445222.
And what about an email address?
The email address is email address removed.
Oh, okay then. But what about the website?
The website is linked to outlookers.org.uk.
And is that what the organisation is called?
Yes, the organisation is called Outlookers.
That's been really useful. Thank you very much indeed.
I'm feeling a bit redundant here. Well, you could get it to interview you. So
You're very welcome.
Oh.
I'm glad I...
I think that's pretty amazing, isn't it? So I'm trying to think of other uses for this. I'm thinking of my fridge or my cupboards at home and knowing what's there, or cooking instructions, those sort of things, just having a chat with it.
Well, that was a really interesting thing when we tried it at the weekend. We were looking at the contents of the fridge. So we found a lasagna and we identified what it was. We then asked about the cooking instructions and it gave us those. I asked about the use by date, told me that. And then I found a carton of eggs and I asked for the use by date on those and it told me that. And then I took it over to the microwave and I asked it what position the timer dial was set to, and it said 2 minutes. But then I moved it round and asked it again, and it still said 2 minutes, even though I know I'd moved it further round. So not entirely accurate, but this is obviously very, very early days with it, and I'm sure the key thing is that we'll just get better at knowing what to ask it and how to ask the questions. So interesting times ahead.
That's a really interesting point about getting better at knowing how to ask. It's definitely a skill to develop. I wonder if being more specific with the question would help, like saying how many minutes is the timer set for? Or what number is the dial pointing to? What do you think?
I think I didn't know that you were still listening.
Of course. I'm here to help whenever you need me.
And just one final thing. So this isn't linked to the new glasses, you know, the Meta glasses and that, is it? You can't use the camera on those. You actually still have to hold your phone up to use it, don't you? I think
You do still have to hold your phone up. At some stage later on in the year, there are rumours of Samsung glasses. So whether it will link to something like that, should it become available, who knows? But maybe that's the subject of another podcast.
That's wonderful. And if there's anything, if any listener wants us to review
That's right.
anything, oh,
You'll
here we
still
go
need
again.
to use your phone's camera for now. But you're spot on with tech.
So yeah, if there's anything else that listeners would like us to review, just let us have some suggestions.
Yeah, please
Thanks
do.
very much. Thanks, Mark.
A big thank you to Mark and Nick for bringing us that insight into Gemini. That was recorded back at the beginning of summer. Now, let's find out what's coming up over the next month here at Outlookers, and also ways you can get involved.
News, events and information. What's on this month at Outlookers?
Coming up at Outlookers in October, we have our AGM. This is for Outlookers, formerly Kirklees Visual Impairment Network, and also the Society for the Blind of Dewsbury, Batley and District. These will be held on Thursday the 16th of October 2025 from 2:15pm until 3:45pm at Brian Jackson House. We also have a Zoom link available for those who want to attend and can't make it. If you would like that link sending out to you, please email us at info@outlookers.org.uk. We also have the second of this year's Living Well with Sight Loss courses in Huddersfield. This is your opportunity to meet other people who are affected by sight loss and their families, and to find out more about what is available for independence and support. Places are limited, so email us at info@outlookers.org.uk for more information. We also have within the Outlookers family our weekly support groups, and they are held in Batley, Dewsbury and Huddersfield. Alternatively, you can join us in one of our other groups in Mirfield, Clackheaton, Denby Dale and Home Firth. These run twice a month, and for dates, times and places, please visit our website. That's not all. We have our Braille for Daily Living course and Media Group. These run fortnightly in Huddersfield. All our groups' details are available on the What's On page of our website. If you'd like to find out more, don't forget, you can visit our website at outlookers.org.uk, or you can email us on info@outlookers.org.uk. Or, alternatively, why not give us a phone call on 01924 445 222. You can follow us and find out what we get up to on Facebook, or visit our YouTube channel, where you can find this podcast and other useful productions. Thanks for listening, and I hope you can join us for episode 8 in November.
Outlookers, the local
sight loss charity.